The day everything changed for Aisha began with sirens in her ears and the cold morning air burning her lungs as she ran down the street, clutching her nursing textbook against her chest. She was already late, the semester's most crucial exam slipping further out of reach with every second. Yet just as she turned the corner toward campus, the sharp sound of something crashing and a man stumbling against a brick wall froze her steps. In that instant, her future, her plans, everything she had worked for hinged on one impossible choice: keep running for the exam she had prepared for all year, or stop and help the injured stranger whose blood was slowly dripping down his face. And without even thinking, she dropped her books on the pavement, knelt beside him, and her life took a turn she never could have imagined. If you believe in kindness, humanity, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Ripple of Kindness. It truly helps stories like this reach the world. Aisha's hands trembled as she assessed the man's injuries. The wound on his forehead was deep, his breathing uneven, and for a moment she wondered where everyone else was, why the rest of the busy street had faded into a blur of fear and hesitation. Her training kicked in, the lessons drilled into her by exhausted professors and long night shifts during her clinical rotations. She used her scarf, the only cloth she had, to apply pressure to the wound and murmured calm words to steady his breathing. Time became a strange, stretched memory. She could no longer hear the exam hall bell, no longer feel the urgency of her dreams slipping away. She only felt the weight of this man's survival resting on her shoulders. When the ambulance arrived, she stepped back, suddenly aware that her exam time had passed. The doors closed, the siren wailed, and she stood alone on the sidewalk, staring down at her blood-stained scarf and realizing the price of her choice. She walked to campus anyway, hoping for a miracle, but administration was firm. No makeup exam. No exceptions. Her professor said the world couldn't bend its rules for one student, no matter how noble the reason. She returned home in silence, her dreams of graduating on time sinking into the quiet heaviness of regret. Days passed in a haze. Aisha avoided telling her parents the full truth, knowing they already struggled to pay her tuition and had pinned so many hopes on her finishing on schedule. She worked extra evening shifts, pushing away exhaustion as she tried to salvage her grades. At night, she replayed the moment she chose to help, wondering if she had thrown her future away. Yet some part of her still believed she had done the right thing, that saving a life mattered more than any exam, even if the world didn't agree. A week later, just before sunset, her house began to shake. The windows rattled, the dishes on the shelf trembled, and she rushed outside thinking it might be an earthquake. But then she saw it, a helicopter descending into her small yard, its blades slicing the air in powerful circles of wind and dust. Neighbors poured out of their homes in confusion as the aircraft settled. Aisha shielded her eyes, her heart pounding as a suited man stepped out, followed by another figure leaning on a cane, someone whose face she recognized even through the fading light. It was the man she had helped, no longer weak and bleeding, but standing tall with the calm confidence of someone powerful. The moment he reached her, he explained everything: how the world had rushed past him that morning, how no one had stopped except her, how her quick hands and steady heart had prevented a dangerous situation from becoming fatal. He also told her something she never expected: he wasn't just an injured stranger. He was a billionaire philanthropist, a man whose name appeared on hospitals, foundations, scholarships, and towering glass buildings she had walked past her entire life without ever imagining she would meet him. He told her he had spent days searching for the girl who vanished before the ambulance could catch her name. He had learned from the paramedics how she missed her exam, how the university refused to make exceptions, and how she returned home quietly with no reward, no recognition, carrying only the burden of a sacrifice no one else seemed to value. And so he came to make things right in the only way he knew how, with action, not words. The next moments felt unreal. He offered her a full scholarship, not just for the missed semester but for the remainder of her degree. He connected her with a prestigious hospital program known for selecting only the brightest, and he promised to personally speak with her university about letting her retake the missed exam. Aisha stood frozen, her mind struggling to catch up. All the heartbreak, the frustration, the fear of disappointing her family, the nights she spent wondering if kindness had cost her too much, suddenly all of it shifted into something bright and overwhelming. Her parents stood beside her, tears in their eyes, unable to believe what was happening in their own front yard. News spread quickly through the neighborhood, then across social media, and soon reporters were knocking on her door, wanting to know the story of the student whose compassion had changed not only a stranger's fate but her own. Aisha handled the attention with a quiet humility, reminding everyone that she had done nothing extraordinary, only what any trained nurse, or any caring human, should do. But deep down, she knew the truth. She had made a choice many wouldn't have made, and even though it had cost her dearly for a time, fate had brought everything back to her in the most unexpected way. Her university eventually allowed her to sit for the exam again, and she passed with one of the highest scores in her class. By the end of the semester, she had begun her work in the prestigious hospital program, earning the respect of seasoned doctors who saw something rare in her, a blend of skill, compassion, and courage that could not be taught. She visited the billionaire often during his rehabilitation sessions, and he became more than a benefactor, he became a mentor, someone who guided her through challenges, opened doors she never knew existed, and reminded her that kindness often returns, sometimes from the sky. Life slowly reshaped itself. Her parents no longer worried about tuition. Her younger siblings looked at her with pride. She walked through hospital corridors with confidence, her footsteps echoing with purpose. And every time she thought about that morning, the panic, the blood, the decision she made without hesitation, she realized that the greatest exams in life are never the ones written on paper. They are the ones that test your heart, your courage, and your willingness to stop for someone who needs you. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Your support helps us continue bringing real and inspiring stories to life. Before you watch the ending, please comment below, kindness always returns. Aisha's life became living proof of that message. She learned that even when the world seems harsh and rules seem rigid, compassion has a way of bending fate itself. She began each new day ready to give more, serve more, and heal more, because she knew that kindness, once given, never truly disappears. It flies back to you when you least expect it, sometimes in the form of a helicopter landing in your very own yard.